I'm Megan Skidmore, and welcome to the Beyond the Shadow of Doubt. I'm a woman, daughter, sister, spouse, mother, life coach, and person of faith on a mission to normalize asking questions and allowing doubts on a faith journey and all aspects of life. Join me as I bring this traditionally taboo topic out of the shadows of shame and into the light. I firmly believe we normalize through more talking and engaging in discussion. More talking peels back, exposes, and erases the layers of shame associated with asking questions and allowing doubts. When we are more authentic about our journey, we are more powerful because shame has no power in the face of authenticity. Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast is a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, which is part of the Dialogue Journal found at dialoguejournal.com. Founder Eugene England was a Mormon writer, teacher, and scholar who wrote, "My faith encourages my curiosity and awe. It thrusts me out into relationship with all creation and encourages me to enter into dialogue. My hope is that this podcast is an extension of that vision." Hey everyone, welcome to the Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. So glad you could join me today. Take some time out of your schedule. I am so looking forward to sharing my guest and her story with all of you. Jeanie Burton, who is a fellow mama of a kiddo who identifies as LGBTQ+. And I'm just so thankful, Jeanie, to you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Being willing to share your story. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to give you as much time as possible. So I'm going to turn the mic over to you. Tell us kind of your background. Just tell us your origin story, whatever you feel comfortable with, your family, where you live, where you grew up, your faith of origin, and all the things.
Okay. Sure. Well, born and bred in the LDS faith. And my ancestors are pioneers, fell away a little bit. I had a great-great-grandma who kind of lost her mind and fell away, did some kind of horrible things to her family, and fell away for a while. And then when my mom was around 13, she found the church again.
Okay.
My dad's family, I have no idea when they joined this church. I don't know, but I do know that my great grandma came along, settled in Ogden with the Saints. So a long line of Mormons, and raised deeply in the faith by a mom who was never mentally well. She was never mentally well. So she used the church to really, really, really control us and definitely abuse us. So
this was your mother or your mother's mother?
Mother.
Your mother.
This was
okay.
There was her grandmother was the one who lost it. Then anyhow, she was raised in a broken home, and things that I can't even imagine. I can, but in a different way. Mm-hmm. So there's just been cycles of not okay on my mother's side that I'm now trying to heal through, any means that I can. So anyhow.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a really tender, personal detail. And so thank you for sharing that.
I forget that we're recording.
I'll remind you.
So anyhow, so my husband and I were raised deeply within the LDS faith, and that this was the right way, the one and only way. And there is black and there is white. And so when I've got two kids who are on the queer spectrum, one who is gay, our older son, and then our youngest came out as trans. He came out, a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. Or just 1 year ago in May. And must have been 2 years ago in May. And he had been uh, definitely, we thought that he was tomboy leaning because our oldest daughter, we've got 4 kids, 2 girls and then 2 boys. Um, our oldest daughter was just tomboy, 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 tomboy. And then she started getting interested in boys and she asked to go shopping for girls' clothes. But I thought that she was probably transgender, to the point where I went to the bishop and I said, so what can we do here? And so he sent me the number for a therapist who I asked, I said, we believe that gender is eternal. And, we just believe that it's not okay to be transgender. And she was mean to me on the phone. And she said, you obviously don't love your child. And I was like, ow.
Wow. I'm
I
sorry.
really, really, really do. So instead of teaching me, she just belittled me. And I don't know, through
therapist?
The therapist. Wow. Yeah. And so I try to remember that when I come across people who just don't genuinely know better. I try to have more of a teaching than a shaming. It doesn't always go well for me because I'm hard on myself, really, for not being open-minded. And I don't know. I just I think teaching is the way, if one is willing to learn. But at first, after he came out, I was not willing to learn. I was just waiting for him to, like our oldest daughter, ask to wear girl clothes. And instead, he told me he was in the wrong body. And I had no idea what to do with that. The truth is, before him, I've never known anybody who's transgender, ever. Yeah. I had no idea what to do with it. So I sent him to go stay with his sister, who was the tomboy in her adolescence, and talk him out of it and get him to wear, buy a couple Sunday dresses to wear to church, and to just fix him, right? And so she called one day. He had been there for a little bit and they had gone shopping, and she asked him to try on a dress and or maybe it was like a fitted girl shirt or something. And he came out of the dressing room and showed my daughter, and she's like, oh, no. This is not you. This is not you. This is not your truth. And so she saw before I saw.
Wow.
And she said that he was just so sad, and that he had told her that the first thing I said to him is, we're not doing anything about this until you are an adult. We're not doing anything about this. And my daughter said, it's just, Mom, he's not all right. He's not okay. And she said, get on the phone with a woman who I had served in the Relief Society president with. I saw it on Facebook that her child had come out, and it made me so uncomfortable.
Talk to her, you mean?
To see what she posted about him on her Facebook. And I was like, oh, she's being led down the wrong path by accepting this, right? This is bad. This is wrong. And then it was my kid. And I called her and we talked for a couple hours, and she was gentle with me with some of the transphobic things that I was saying. And she corrected me very gently, sweetly, gently, helped me understand how hurtful those things could be to him. And I remember praying about it. And I remember wanting to tell him that God spoke to my heart, that he really is a daughter of God. But when I went to say it, it couldn't come out because it wasn't true.
Wow.
I went to say you, and instead I said, your Father in heaven loves you. Because the other thing was a lie. The other thing, I felt my mouth was stopped because it just wasn't. If I was searching for truth, that was not truth. So, then a couple weeks after that, and neither one of my kids knew about the other. My son came out as gay. He was thinking bi, but now he thinks that he's pretty sure that it's the one, that he's gay. I suspected all along, because I would buy him toys and he's like, no, I would rather play with his big sister's Barbies and dress up slippers and dresses and whatever. He would rather, right? And I thought that he was just like, I was just an open-minded mom, which I was, in that way. Clearly not in the way that was going to that I didn't understand. I knew gay people. I knew, and that wasn't scary to me. But the transgender things, oh gosh, scary, absolutely scary. So,
can I just pause you for a minute?
Yes.
There. Thank you so much for being willing to say that. That is so interesting to me that you're sharing quite candidly, what was going through your mind at the time, because Jeanie, I think that is often the case for many, whether or not they say it out loud or behind closed doors or even to themselves. We fear what we don't understand.
Yeah.
And we don't always, if we're fearful of it, we're not necessarily going to go and dive in and try to educate ourselves about it or learn more, or go and talk to the person, in this case, a person who identifies as transgender.
Right.
I mean, for the first time as a family, we recently shared our more details about our story, and my kiddo also identifies as transgender. And so I relate, I understand what you're sharing, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very, very much. So thank you.
Yeah.
But continue with sharing about your son's story. You knew about gay people, but the transgender was new.
Right. So new. And I had no idea what to do with that. Right. The whole concept that God doesn't make mistakes. And the truth is, he doesn't. He sends some of his children like this, puts female parts with a male brain, Yeah. And sometimes that's just one of his many beautiful creations. And when we put a value on that, we're deciding what's right and wrong versus God. Yeah, you know what? God didn't mistakenly send my kid like this. It was for a purpose. He's supposed to be like this. And um I don't know. I can't really imagine him any other way now. And because he was always this kid. So um I before he was even born, before he was even born, and I may have you edit this part out, maybe not, and you can help me decide. But
Okay.
we I had a hard time getting pregnant with him. Years. Really, it took 5 years. And I was kind of miserable. If anyone knows what fertility issues, right? Infertility is like, it's a vicious little thing.
Uh-huh.
And every month is a loss, even though there wasn't anything, right? There's that hope all the
Yeah.
time. And so I was praying so hard for that fourth child that I absolutely knew was there, but wasn't coming. And he came to me,
He
um,
meaning God.
our youngest,
Oh,
before before I was even pregnant with him, came to me,
okay.
and he said, I don't want to come. And I said, why? No, why would you? No, 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 no. Please come. We want you. We long for you. And he said, I'm scared. I'm scared to come. And and then he told me I will be born a female. I'm Molly. I'm Molly. And so when we found out, um, the on the ultrasound, that his parts were girl, we decided, or then I remembered he told me, I'm Molly. I'm Molly.
Oh,
And so we named him Molly. And then as I was getting used to the idea, after I had talked to my friend with the sweet transgender son, and she helped show me the ropes a little, I was talking to my son about, his possible names that he could pick, right? Fresh slate. Who do you want to be? And then I remembered, and he had picked some that he thought were cool boy names. And then I said, well, I know I've told you this story, but what if you were saying I'm Ollie? And he said, Mom, that's it. That's it. I'm Ollie. I'm Ollie. And I always wanted to name a boy Oliver. That's my husband's middle name, and he always was absolutely not. But I got my Ollie. I got my Ollie. So and it fits him. It fits him so perfectly. And and he knew, apparently. He knew the deal before he was even born. And I did say to him before, um, as I'm talking to his little spirit, I said, you come, whatever it is, I've got you. I've got you. And so it was when I was remembering that he came to me that I needed to make good on that promise, that I've got you. And so we started reading. We started researching, and the church leaders were absolutely no help. They were kind, but no help. And we started, that same friend introduced me to I'll Walk With You, that the Facebook page for parents of LGBTQ kids. And through that, we started listening to podcasts and Richard Osler's book. And that helped so immensely with the deconstruction. And it was painful for us, physically painful as well as emotionally painful. It hurt our heads, it hurt our hearts. It was an undoing and then a redoing. And another thing that we came across was it was like a study about transgender kids, and I think it was accidentally, it became about kids in the LDS faith and their self-harm. And it was a very, very, very high number of transgender kids in our faith who hurt themselves. And when I saw that number, it did me in. It was as if I genuinely felt like someone had just handed me a death notice for our kid. And I went to bed and I cried and cried and cried myself to sleep that afternoon. And my husband kept reading. And in that study, it talks about how one can make that statistic lower, to make that percentage lower. And it had the scale from rejecting all the way up to completely accepting, supportive. And I said, we are that. We're now supportive. That's who we are now. And in that same moment, I thought, there's just no way that we can stay part of our religion. There's just no way. There's just no way. But then a calmness came, and I thought, for now I can. For now I can. And we came out to the bishop and other people in the ward. I gave a talk about sweet acceptance of the marginalized, and our ward family embraced us. They embraced us, and they were like, we saw your kid in the dress and we wondered, right? He looked way more transgender in that dress than he does now, right? He's just this, he's definitely, he's passing. And so they were like, yeah, okay, yeah, doy. I was like, well, I just kept waiting for him to tell me it was time to go shopping. But and then we moved to the most conservative county in California. And the little bits and pieces, a few people, the leaders, have been as supportive as they know how, but they treat the proclamation as doctrine. So their hands are tied. They can only support us so much. And for a while, we were going to church, and Ollie was going to with the boys in their classes, with the Aaronic priesthood boys. Huh? And our bishop was great about that. And he would go to the young men's activities and The boys were great. The whole youth, they were great. But then it came to him not being able to go to the temple. And it just wasn't sitting right with me. That because of how God made him and him telling his truth, that they were going to they took away his recommend. And I sat with it for a while and I prayed about it for a while. And then I knew I needed to challenge that. And so I went back into my bishop and I said, for everyone else, this is a worthiness issue. And my kid's worthy to go to the temple. And I had talked to him already, Ollie, and asked him if he would be willing or he would be okay to go and get baptized for some of our female ancestors that we had the cards for. And then I told him the first person who ever got baptized was a mom for her son. So let's and he said, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So in the meantime, though, we really deconstructed.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked the bishop to talk to the stake president about it, because he's the one who said absolutely not with the recommend. And then we had a stake conference coming up, and they asked if they could come and talk with our family. So the stake president and the area authority came and talked with us. And toward the end of the conversation, they told us that he could go to the temple based on his worthiness, but not before the stake president yelled at me for my questions. I had questions about one of the first things that the general authority, that he said, the general authority said to us was, just to be clear, we're okay with queer members being part of our church. And I said, yeah, but only as long as they're celibate. Like, ask anyone to be celibate, right? I can't imagine my life without my husband, right? The helpmeet, right? Like, what we're asking of gay people, LGBTQ people, is to sacrifice everything and be really, really not fulfilled in their life so that they can go to a higher kingdom, or that they can be accepted by church members in the here and now. And it's just, I can't wrap my head around someone being miserable their whole lives just so that they can get to a higher kingdom in heaven. I
struggle a lot with that concept.
And yeah, and the truth is, I don't know that I even believe that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in light. I believe in agency. I believe in a God who knows us all and sends us exactly how he sends us to do what we're supposed to do here. And I just don't think that Ollie's going to be punished because God made him different.
Yeah,
I just don't think so.
I would say that statement that you just said right there feels more in alignment with me too. And
Yeah.
it's curious to me that in that meeting that you were talking about with your stake president and the area authority, that your
Yes.
stake president, the
He yelled at me.
way that he said it is he got very emotionally
Yes, the
charged
area
about.
authority had to put his hand on him and say, "Calm down."
Okay.
Uh-huh.
But it was around you having questions.
Yeah,
That's what you
right.
said.
Yeah,
And I, you know, thank you for saying that. Thank you for sharing that, because that's a primary goal of mine in starting this podcast, to just normalize asking questions,
yeah,
allowing doubts. They don't have to be a problem. It doesn't have to mean anything about us as a person, as a
right.
believer, as a
Yep,
follower of Christ. It doesn't have to mean that we are less than or anything,
yeah,
um,
yep,
unless we make it mean that about ourselves, or perhaps we pass judgment on someone else who
yep,
may not be meeting some preconceived requirements or whatever.
right,
The reality is we all have questions and doubts, right? That is what is
right.
mentally healthy. That is what is actually a teacher for us. It's what builds our cognition and deepens our understandings.
Yeah,
I would love to get a little more insight from you, knowing where you were. You mentioned
yeah,
your upbringing was
right.
quite clear, quite black and white.
That's right.
That
I
had to
checked
have
all the
been
boxes, all of them.
a struggle then for you to
Yeah,
allow yourself to move from this end of the
right,
pendulum and swing to this side where you were
right.
now considering something that you hadn't ever considered before. And there was a time when you would never even allowed yourself to go there.
That's right. That's right.
What can you share with me, with our listeners, about that process? I know you've mentioned your deconstruction process, you and your husband, was super
Right.
painful. It is. It is
Yes.
not easy to go through that process of allowing the idea that this
Yeah.
new situation that you're now presented with, that completely contradicts everything you've known and understood,
Yep.
that
Right.
situation that could actually be reality, right?
Right. Well, um, the 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 idea that I could lose my child if I didn't change, if I didn't change my thinking, that I wouldn't have him in my life anymore. That was it. That was it. That was a deal breaker for me. And I would call myself spiritually independent. There's been other things in the church that have gone down that were not in alignment with the answers to prayers that I have gotten. And so I had untied the church with the gospel and with God.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel spiritually independent, and I say a lot. In the beginning, it was me and God.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, it will be me and God. And I can choose to follow advice if I want to, if it feels true
Mm-hmm.
to what God is instilling in me. And I double check it, right? I check in with God. And I would say I had this, I envisioned this cord that I was holding onto. And at the bottom of this cord was a solid surface, but it was only the size of like the opening of a solo cup, right? But out of that was this cord that went from me to God. And it was only as big as a solo cup because everything I knew that I thought that I knew had crumbled away.
Wow.
And during seeing this as this is my cord to God, I thought about a time when it had been a couple years since my grandma Shirley, had passed away, and she came to me in a dream, and I asked her to tell me what she knows now that she would tell herself when she was my age. Like, what would you tell yourself? What can you tell me? What do you know now? And it was so simple that I didn't understand what she was trying to say, but it ended up that she was trying to tell me that it's all way more okay than we think it is. It's all more okay than we think it is. And during that time, I think Ollie was probably 1.5 or 2 when I had that dream. And then so 10 years later, I'm faced with this crisis of faith, this crisis of what I thought was black and white is now just so gray. And I remembered what she said, that it's all more okay than you think it is. And I thought, okay, that's definitely not what the church teaches me. It's not what I hear when I go to church. It's not what I hear. I hear do more, be more, do better, be better, exhaust yourself in for God, right? And I thought, it can't be more okay than I think it is. I think it's less okay than I give myself. I think I give myself too much grace, was what I first thought when when she told me that. And then years later, I thought, okay, if that's right, if it's all more okay than we think it is, what makes it more okay? And the only thing I could think of was the atonement of God. And either the atonement is real or it's not, and either it's infinite or worthless. Because I can't earn my way. Mm-hmm. If we believe that part of what we believe, I can't do it. And so if Christ really did atone for us, then we're all okay. We're all okay. And shame and judgment and everything can go out the door. It's unneeded, unnecessary.
I agree. Shame is a hindrance to growth. To me, it's certainly not something that God wants us to feel, that it's not going to bring us closer to God.
Right.
And so for me, when you said there's nothing wrong with my child, this is the way God created them.
Yeah.
To me, that how can that be shameful? There's no shame in that. There's a purpose. There's a divine purpose there. You've talked a little bit about your experiences within your faith community.
Yeah.
And navigating that is going to be so different for everyone. I mean, you experienced something different in your previous ward and state than when you moved to California.
That's right. Yes.
And
we moved from central California to northern. Yeah.
So, for other parents who might be going through this, or maybe even just members of a faith community who see a family that, I don't know how they would know, or maybe it's a family member that is already part of their own bloodline family.
Right.
I would be curious to know what advice or insight or thoughts you might offer, both to the parent who's trying to navigate this,
Mhm.
and then maybe fellow parishioners of a faith community that might be aware enough to realize their first knee-jerk reaction is
Right.
to judge, to reject, to and then maybe even to verbalize those
Yes,
things
to
and
other
whatnot.
people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the core for me has always been, how does God feel about my child? How does God feel about me supporting my child? And as I check in about that, it really is love, love and help. Love them, help them. Love them, help them, believe them. And I love the title of um, Richard Osler's book, Listen and Learn
Mm-hmm.
and Love. But the
Yeah.
first thing is listen,
Yeah.
right? Listen. I cannot know what it's like for my sweet Ollie. I cannot. I I every morning wake up with the right stuff, right? I cannot imagine. I can try, but I can only imagine it. I just have to listen to him and believe him. And I think for members of our faith community, the same, the same. Just listen, just listen, and let people be who they are. And if you can learn something from them, all the better.
Yeah.
Just open your heart, open your mind, leave room.
Yes. 100%. Yes. I'm reminded of some wise words shared by Elder Uchtdorf, Dieter F.
Yeah.
Uchtdorf,
Yes.
that this podcast is for those of all faith backgrounds, all conservative faith backgrounds, not just LDS.
Yeah.
But these words apply no matter what your faith of origin is. But he says, as good as our previous experience may be, if we stop asking questions, stop thinking, stop pondering, we can thwart the revelations of the Spirit. And he continues, remember, it was the questions that young Joseph asked that opened the door for the restoration of all things.
Right.
We can block the growth and knowledge our Heavenly Father, I'll insert heavenly parents,
Yes.
intends for us. How often has the Holy Spirit tried to tell us something we needed to know, but couldn't get past the massive iron gate of what we thought we already knew? And I'm sure you've heard this,
Amen.
and you know this very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there was a past me who, to some extent, probably fit that description.
Yep. Yep. Me too. Oh, me too. Oh, me
Not
too.
that this is like we're not like admitting past wrongs or anything here. But my point is just like you said, open your heart.
Yep.
And
yeah,
really importantly, to lead with love. I truly believe that when we embody love, when we act with charity, which is the pure love of Christ,
yeah, we
can't go wrong.
Right.
Yes. I really believe that.
Yes. Are we trying to be like Jesus? Are we?
Yeah.
And what would Jesus say to the kid sitting alone, right? Who is wants to be wearing a dress because that's what feels right. to them.
Right.
What would Christ actually do? He would go to them.
I'm
He
sure
would
that
go to them
he
and
would
love
love
them.
them just as much as he loves the Samoan kid who wears a sari. No, that's not what they're called. A lava lava.
That's right. Right.
A lava
Right.
lava.
Yep.
Or the Scottish kid who wears a kilt sometimes, or
Right.
I mean, social and cultural norms
Yeah.
really, really give us tunnel vision, I think.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes. Right. Right. Yeah.
Well, my goodness, Jeanie, this has been so enlightening, and I appreciate so much your willingness to be open and vulnerable and authentic.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
know that your experiences, your journey, your heart will touch many lives. Anyway,
Thank you for this platform.
I always like to ask a final question of my guests. Okay. And that is, what does it mean to you to live beyond the shadow of doubt? Not beyond the shadow of a doubt, but I'm trying to dispel the stigma, the negative connotation that is often associated with doubt, and look beyond that shadow that is often cast on doubt. But
yes.
So what does that mean to you, to live beyond that shadow of doubt?
It's how we learn, right? Doubt is how we learn, and it's how we strengthen our faith. It's how we figure out what we really do believe.
It's so true.
Doubting just helps us know what is true for us individually, not what we're supposed to be, what other people expect us to do, but what's our nature and what God is trying to do with us.
That is so true.
In our lives.
I mean, there's no growth if you're stagnant, right? There's so much value to questioning a belief, taking a look at it for yourself.
Yep.
And acting on that, learning about it, diving deep. I mean, there's so much growth there. You're so right. It's for our own benefit, really.
Yes.
So good. I love that. I love hearing all the responses that my guests give me to that question. It's so insightful. Well, I have just a few more quick one-word answer questions for you that help our listeners get to know you a little bit better.
Great.
Tell us your favorite book.
Pride and Prejudice. Oh. I listen to it on Audible always. They are my best friends and they calm me down.
I love it.
Lizzie and her sisters, I love them.
I love all of the different renditions, the different movie portrayals.
Yes, I do too. I do too.
Fun one.
I do too. Yes.
Okay. Do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Gosh, I think I grew up an extrovert, and then life kind of pounded me into an introvert.
I really think it can shift. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I love my safe people, but they're few and far between, right? The safe people. So yeah.
And that's cool. That's okay. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. What about a night owl or a morning lark?
Oh gosh, neither. Is that crazy? I love to go to bed late and I love to sleep in. Yep.
You're a free spirit.
Well, I mean, so I guess that would be night owl, but I don't stay up into the wee hours. I'm not a complete night owl. So I guess that one's closer.
Well, I thought you were going to say that you went to bed early and you got up late.
Oh, yes, that would have made more sense. That would have made more sense. Edit this part, right?
This is the fun part, all the spontaneity. What about a favorite artist?
A favorite, like any kind of artist, like music artist?
You choose.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Oh,
and this is why. Taylor Swift, because she's an ally, and I love that about her. And she has helped bridge the gap in our family. Everyone in our family likes Taylor Swift. And so yeah,
That.
yeah.
Oh,
And how music brings us together, right?
mhm.
So we'll just be in the kitchen doing whatever and turn on Taylor Swift, and we have that commonality. We've got
Yeah.
that. We don't have to fight over Taylor. We love her.
I love that when gaps are bridged.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a beautiful thing.
What about still or carbonated water, or do you do diet soda?
Oh, I carbonated water. I call it angry water. Angry water. And I love it.
Angry water, that is a first. I love it. And then
it
finally,
stings going down.
it does. That's true. Unless you get a liquid death. I don't know. Have you ever had those?
I'm not.
Liquid death. It's just water. And it even says it on the can. It says relax. It's just water.
Oh,
But
how
they have
funny. No, I
a
bought some
mango.
for Sam, but I didn't try them for my son. Yeah.
The mango flavor is my favorite. Okay.
Okay.
And then finally, your furthest place that you have traveled.
The furthest place we've traveled. Okay. Well, what's either Hawaii or Mexico? Hawaii's further, right?
Yeah. Hawaii.
Yeah.
They're a good 6 hours. Well, I'm in Texas.
Okay.
So they're 6
Okay.
hours behind me, but probably just 4 behind you.
Yes.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. So amazing to get to know you better. You're a beautiful person. You're an amazing mom.
Thank
A
you.
beautiful family and a just a wonderful story. And thank you for gracing us with you and your presence today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If folks wanted to connect with you or reach out with questions, what would be the best way for them to do that?
So my Facebook is public. So
Okay.
I'm Jeanie Wardell Burton.
Okay.
Jeanie
Is that
Wardell
with
Burton.
2 D's and 2 L's?
Wardell. Wardell, and Burton's just like the snowboard.
Like Tim Burton.
That's right.
Okay. Great. I will leave those in the show notes.
Terrific.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Hopeful Spaces is a Dallas Hope Charities component of Hopeful Discussions, sponsored by Mercedes-Benz Financial Services USA. It's a free monthly parent, ally, or caregiver support group facilitated by Megan Skidmore Coaching. Email chc@dallashopecharities.org for more info. Visit meganskidmorecoaching.com to find this podcast and additional free resources, including the link for a complimentary coaching session. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram for more, or to send me a DM. Help the podcast grow. Please follow, review, and share with a friend.